Hi, today I want to talk about important question for our planet. Should space colonization be a priority for world governments? Humanity is looking towards space more actively and more often, discussing the creation of permanent bases on the moon and on Mars. In this situation, a natural question appeared. Should governments speed up speed research, or should they directly limit their financial resources to other projects on the Earth that it's more urgent? In the 60s, during the height of space race between US and USSR, NASA funding reached almost 4% of United States national federal budget and using very old technology. And they was able to reach the moon. Since that priorities has changed, spending on space program has gradually decreased, and today it's about 10% of level of Apollo program era. At the same time, space activity has increasingly moved to commercial use. So, can private initiative independently ensure exploration of a space? Most likely no. Private company works according on a return on investment and focus on project that relatively fast and bring money much faster. Interplanetary flights and creation of long-term space infrastructure do not fit this model. But private sector can develop and test technology, reduce launch cost, and improve system reliability. Therefore, strategic initiative should remain with governments. One common argument against active space exploration is negative impact on the environment. Let's compare different rocket fuels. First, chemical rockets. In the 60s, this was common type of rockets, but nowadays such rockets used usually by military. They pollute air very heavy with toxic exhaust. This rocket usually carry nuclear payload, and pollution the last things you think about when you start a war. Second type, methane or propane rockets. These rockets produced mostly greenhouse gas and water. And third time, it's hydrogen rockets. They use hydrogen as fuel and oxygen as oxidizer, and this rocket mostly produce just a water vapor. But another thing, most cheapest way to produce hydrogen, it's produced from natural gas, and this process create greenhouse gas. But when commercial use of thermonuclear energy in fusion reactors will come to commercial rails, cost of electricity will drop significantly, and we can use hydrolysis method to make hydrogen for rockets. Currently, current contribution to greenhouse effect from a rocket from 0.003% to 100th of percent of global greenhouse gas emission. This means if we increase rocket launch just in 100 times, this will be 1% of greenhouse gas emission in our planet. So theoretically, we can increase rocket launch even in thousand times, but it will be 10% of current greenhouse gas production on the Earth. So if we will implement green technologies and reduce it by, for example, 20%, we can increase space launches by 1,000 times. But all rocket exhaust can create pollution in the upper atmosphere. Chemical rockets most pollutant, methane rockets on a second place, and hydrogen rockets less pollutant. But water vapor released at high altitudes by hydrogen rockets can remain in the atmosphere for 3-5 years and form so-called noctilucent clouds. This effect is similar to aircraft contrails, and these clouds bring greenhouse effect too. One of the key arguments in favor of active space exploration is the resource potential of the solar system. It's extremely rich in metal and other national resources. A clear example is asteroid 16 Psyche. According to the most common estimate, the value of resources contained in this asteroid, when it's calculated on the Earth's prices, may exceed the domestic gross product of all Earth by 10,000 times, and it's 20 to 50 times greater than the all's wealth of all humanity. Iron and steel production create 10% of global greenhouse gas. Aluminium production is very toxic. Titanium production more toxic and has a special position among these material. The scale of production of titanium is relatively small, and this exactly what makes titanium candidate number one for extraction beyond Earth. And rare elements. Their production usually most toxic things on the Earth, and we can also produce these metals on the orbit, on the moon, or in asteroids. In addition to environmental and economic factors, space exploration has also strong geopolitical importance. At present, from 70 to 90% of rare element production is controlled by China, and large part of titanium production concentrated in China and Russia. The United States and European countries has actively searching the way to reduce their dependence of these two suppliers. In this context, space, especially the moons, it seems like potential source of strategic important materials. Also, transport of large and common metal from moon to Earth remain expensive. By delivery of rare and high value elements may be economical reasonable. For this reason, active exploration of lunar resources is already taken place along with development of technology of their future use. So, should space colonization be priority for world governments? It's impossible to give clear and simple answer to this question. On the one hand, it's obvious that humanity should increase investment in space, develop new technologies. On the other hand, the current level of scientific and technology development, full space colonization remain unreachable goal. And with current level of funding, it's not enough for serious breakthrough. China spends the same as United States and have lower production cost. So new space race between the USA and China is impossible. At the end, I think this year, finally, Artemis 2 mission to Mars finally launch. It was scheduled last time I heard in February, but they still cancel launch. But this year they should. They not plan to land on moon that time. They will land maybe in 3 years in a Artemis 4 or 5 or 5 mission. So space exploration moving forward. Thank you for listening. If you have question, ask me please. Thank you. Bye.